Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking the absolute, non-negotiable operational frameworks that actually keep food service establishments safe, compliant, and, well, thriving. Whether you're a food handler on the front lines, a manager, or the person in charge, often called the pick, this is your foundational blueprint. Okay, let's dive into this. Because when we talk about food safety compliance, it is incredibly easy to just see a giant mountain of rules and endless paperwork. But what we're really talking about here is your ultimate shield against an operational disaster. Think about it. A single lapse in hygiene or sanitation. It's not just a tiny oops. It can lead to severe foodborne illness, totally destroy public trust, and mean an immediate, flat-out compliance failure during an official municipal inspection. Compliance is literally your daily armor. So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to build our defense from the inside out. We'll start with the contamination threat, move right into personal health and hygiene, cover the uniform code, look at dining area sanitation rules, and finally, wrap things up with the pick verification duty. Section 1, the contamination threat. Let's set the stakes on why these daily routines are absolutely critical. The entire goal of our daily workflow is to stop specific threats from ever reaching the plate, right? So, a food hazard is defined as any biological, chemical, or physical agent in food that has the potential to cause an adverse health effect. We're talking biological, like nasty pathogenic microorganisms that cause food poisoning, physical, like a loose ring or a shard of glass falling into a dish, or chemical, like sanitizer residue left on a counter. Achieving safe food requires a heavily controlled preparation environment and flawlessly executed hygiene practices. It's like a giant puzzle where every single piece has to fit perfectly. Moving on to Section 2, personal health and hygiene, the human element. The very first line of defense is the food handler themselves. Before anyone even steps a single foot onto the prep floor, they absolutely must be medically cleared. Food handlers, and yes, the person in charge too, have to hold a valid health certificate issued by the Medical Commission. This proves they are healthy fit at all times. They can't be suffering from any disease or carrying an infection that might increase the chances of cross-contamination. That's the baseline requirement, no exceptions. But, even with that certificate on the wall, daily health monitoring is critical. There are mandatory illness reporting triggers. If a food handler or pick gets hit with diarrhea, vomiting, or similar symptoms, they have to report to their manager immediately. They are completely unfit for work. And here is a huge rule to remember. Any food items handled by a sick employee, you have to immediately and completely discard them. Gone. Furthermore, minor physical things like cuts, burns, or sores must be fully disinfected and covered tightly with a highly secure waterproof dressing before that person can handle any food. Right alongside overall health is the rigorous, everyday practice of hand washing. The protocol here is highly specific, guys. You wet your hands with warm water, apply antibacterial liquid soap, and rub them together for a solid 20 to 30 seconds. Then you rinse and dry. And crucially, the guidelines actually explicitly state that hand air dryers are not recommended. Nope, drying with disposable tissues is the absolute standard. And you're doing this before starting work, after using the toilet, after handling incompatible things like raw meat, and of course, after coughing or sneezing. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how all of that is actually tracked. The staff's sickness record doesn't just casually note that someone called out sick. It explicitly tracks the specific symptoms they had, the exact action management took, the date they actually resumed work, and, this is the big one, whether they received formal written clearance from a medical practitioner to return. It creates a rock-solid, auditable paper trail of your staff's health compliance. Section 3. The Uniform Code. Dressing for Safety. There is a very specific right way and a very wrong way to dress in a food service environment. The right way means a clean uniform, ideally white or light-colored so you can easily spot dirt, with proper hair restraints, like hairnets. The wrong way? Well, wearing uniforms with external pockets or buttons that could easily snag or just fall straight into the food. Watches, rings, and jewelry are strictly forbidden. Even personal grooming is highly regulated. Nails must be short, clean, and completely free from nail polish. Any of these things present a massive physical and biological hazard risk. And when it comes to finalizing a dish, we have the glove rule. Listen, food handlers are absolutely not allowed to touch ready-to-eat food items with their bare hands. No way. They must always use disposable gloves to strictly avoid cross-contamination. It is quite literally the final barrier between the handler and the consumer's plate. All right, Section 4, dining area sanitation rules. Let's shift from the inside to the outside and talk about strict environmental controls. So, the crucial point is this: you absolutely cannot mix your cleaning tools. Cleaning and disinfection equipment, things like mops, buckets, and microfiber cloths, must be strictly dedicated to the dining area alone. They have to be entirely distinct from the tools used to clean toilets or the tools used on kitchen prep surfaces. The guidelines highly recommend using a color-coded system to enforce this. For instance, using blue mops exclusively for the dining room floors and red mops exclusively for high-risk restroom areas. This is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to prevent cross-contamination. Out in the dining area, your main sanitation targets are those high-touch surfaces. We're talking guest tables, chairs, booths, self-service stations, and condiment counters. These have to be routinely targeted, and the standard here is absolute cleanliness. Spills cleared immediately, housings fully sanitized, and absolutely no residual stickiness left behind. Just think about it. These are your primary guest contact points, so they need to be flawless. To actually prove this work is happening, establishments have to use a dining area cleaning log. This tracks the date, the frequency, the precise items and areas cleaned, the exact methods and food-grade chemicals used, any comments on physical conditions, and finally, it requires the signature of the staff member who did the work, plus the PIC who verified it. This log right here is your practical blueprint for operational documentation. Which brings us to Section 5, the PIC verification duty, the ultimate gatekeeper of these standards. Now, what's really interesting about this rule is the massive emphasis on physical inspection. The guidelines clearly state that the PIC is required to physically inspect the dining area at the conclusion of every single shift. A manager cannot just sit in a back office and blindly sign off on a giant stack of cleaning logs. They actually have to walk the floor. They need to check for residual stickiness, make sure the color-coded mops are properly used, and confirm that the sanitation schedule was executed flawlessly. And speaking of those cleaning logs and sickness records we were just talking about, they have to be absolutely flawless and complete. Did you know that any blank spaces left on an auditing sheet actually constitute an automatic compliance failure? It's true. These logs must be archived and kept readily accessible on-site at all times. If a municipal food inspector walks through the door, these logs are the immediate, tangible proof of your daily systemic defense. That leaves us with a critical question to consider as we wrap up this explainer. Take a hard look at your own operations. Are your daily operational logs, your staff sickness records, and those shift-end PIC signatures a true, hard-fought reflection of your food safety culture? Or have they just become a paperwork exercise that everyone rushes through at closing time? Remember, true compliance is built from the inside out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I challenge you to take these insights straight back to your floor today.